Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Dialogue with the Dukes. I'm your host, Bill Berger, and today's show has to do with all of the sports programs in the fall here at Wellington High School. And today we're very honored to have the athletic director from Wellington High School, Mr. John Bowman, who's going to be talking about all of the fall sports programs, the highlights, and we hope not too many lowlights. John, the first sport we'd like to talk about is actually the sport that starts the school year off, and that being golf. They took second place in the LC8 this year, and Zach Kale was the standout golfer for the Dukes.
Right, yeah, the golf team kicks off the fall season pretty early and got us off to a good start. They begin early August just because it's simple for the weather and it's easier for the golf courses, but while everybody else is still getting their first practices in, they're off and running with tournaments right off the rip, a week into practicing. So it's important for them to have a good off season in July and June so that they're ready to come into the season prepared to golf. And Coach Geyer, Coach Feliciano do a good job with that. They actually play a lot over the summer. They hit at the driving range at Whiskeyville to keep up with their game. But we had a good year this year. Again, finishing second, like you said, and the team was somewhat young. We did have some senior leadership as well that will be missed, but our only LC8 honoree was a freshman in Zach Kale, and he played against a lot of the teams number ones this year, as he was our number one. So got a lot of good experience thrown into the fire early, and I think he's a kid that really enjoys golf and will put the time into becoming a great golfer. But lost some seniors as well. I will mention Noah Clark. He ended up winning the league golf tournament, which is the first time anybody from Wellington's won the LC8 since we've had the new league golf tournament. So good accomplishment for him. Again, that group will be missed, but looking forward to the future for golf.
Well, unfortunately, golf isn't necessarily a great spectator sport, but the next sport that we're going to be talking about may be the best spectator sport, that being football. This year, they were overall 3-7, but the best thing about football this year is in the non-conference game, they won 2 out of the 3 non-conference games.
Right, and before we get to football, I just wanted to mention the girls' golf team also had a good, successful year. And they've had a group that's been golfing now for 2 or 3 years, and so as most of them are juniors, coming next year they're going to be seniors. They'll be looking forward to next year with having some of that experience and being able to compete at the district sectional level. So, but yeah, moving on to football. Football, obviously, you look at some of those games and you hope to win some of those games, and you can play the what if. If you do get a couple of those games early, there was a chance I think we could have been either 3-1 or 4-1, whatever the scenario was early in the year, and say we get that win in overtime, how's the season play out? But defense was the specialty this year. Stellar performance defensively. We had the league defensive player of the year in Trey Moore. He actually broke the tackle record for the school. Just a crazy amount of tackles this year for that kid, and his name was splattered all over the Max Preps. You've seen that, so it was good enough. It was good enough stats for him to get a second team All-Ohio this year, which means he will go up on the wall as a Wall of Famer here at Wellington, and he's only a junior, so coming back for his senior year. But Trey's a great kid. He works hard. Put a lot of effort into the season before the season started. He hasn't missed many lifting sessions in his 3 seasons as a football player, and you can notice that when you see his play on the field and when you see his numbers in the weight room. But I also would like to mention that Alex Frank, he was a second-team All-Ohio defensive back, having 6 interceptions this year. he'll be coming back. And then we graduated Johnny Kinner, he was our big play guy. Johnny had a great year. Just whenever he got the ball, he made an impact, and he's someone who will be missed. And I'm glad to see that he's out for basketball this year. He's, again, a great athlete. He's going to go on to play baseball in Division II college. So good for him, but hate to see him go.
Absolutely. Well, the next sport that we want to talk about is something that's, shall we say, goes by the wayside. Nobody thinks about them as far as a sport, but cheerleading is a sport. And as a result, those young ladies, all young ladies, they're out there in all kinds of weather. They're in the fall. They're out there when it's hot and steamy, and they're out there when it's cold and rainy. And this year they did a wonderful job. They obviously very well coached.
Right. Yeah, the cheerleaders, I know we had some bad weather this year.
Horrible weather.
We had a couple mud bowls or rain bowls, whatever you want to call them. But yeah, the cheerleaders, I know people don't need to remember that they have to survive through those conditions as well. And I'm sure that would be miserable. I know I like to hide in the press box on those games. So they're out there in the elements with the team. But right, Catherine Selzer did a great job getting all the girls to come out this year. We had a full squads and have a full squad for basketball. So right, they do a lot of athletic activities, and right, you might not know it, but there's some of those girls are some of the best athletes walking the school as far as what they can do, stuff that I definitely can't do. The flexibility and flips. So many of them now are doing the tumbling, and you definitely see it during the basketball games. Right. And right, that's something that is very athletic and takes a lot of time to learn how to do.
Mm-hmm. Well, the next sport that we want to talk about is girls soccer. They had a really tough year this year. There's no doubt about it. But I think the big thing that's involved with girls soccer is the fact that they had a great attitude. They had a lot of the girls come out, and I don't believe any of them quit. They all stayed there with a good attitude, even though the goal scoring was, shall we say, somewhat low this year.
Right. It was definitely, having some success in soccer in the past few years, and basically losing all of that experience. It was a tough year for the girls, but right, they enjoyed it. They stuck with it. They got better as the year went on. Our new head coach, Todd Miller, he's already working. They had their first off-season session yesterday. So they've already got girls in the gym, trying to make them more prepared for next year. But right, you can't say enough about their character and how they stuck with it the whole year and made the whole year enjoyable.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Well, of course, now we have to go on to boys soccer. And the one thing I want to say about boys soccer is I think they made a complete 180-degree turn. They were overall 13-3-2, and in the LC8, they were 8-2-2, good enough for second place in the LC8, and they were also sectional runner-ups. As I said, they made a complete 180. But the one other thing that I wanted to bring up is the fact they had 20 team members come out this year, which in previous years
it's a big soccer roster.
We could barely get enough people on the soccer field.
Right. Right. The progression of boys soccer over the past 3 or 4 years is definitely, I think that's why I have so much optimism for girls, is because we've seen it with the boys. Right. They had some tough seasons 2 or 3 years ago, and now they're seeing the hard work pay off. Again, a great season this year. What Coach Paps has done with that group is remarkable. But right, Spencer Brzee will be missed, a senior that led us in goals this year. But we bring back Reese Leiby, who's a sophomore. He broke the assist record this year. He had 31 assists, I believe. Shattered the old record. I think it was 17. So Reese has got to find somebody to score those goals for him next year. I'm hoping that he's going to score some of those. But definitely moving forward, this group still brings a young group that's going to be hungry, and I have high hopes for boys soccer in the future.
Mhm. Well, another sport that made great strides this year was the volleyball team. The volleyball team, overall, they were 15-8, but in the LC8, they were I shouldn't say only, they were 11-3. Again, good enough for second place, and they were sectional runners-up. It was a great year, especially considering they had a brand new coach in Jack Colvin.
Yeah, so volleyball finished in second, and really I thought they could have had a deeper run in the playoffs. We ended up winning, I believe, the most games since like 2003 or 2004. I don't know if the total was 16 or what it was, but very successful year for them. And they just lost a heartbreaker to Mogador, which was a tough team, but right, we had great success in the league this year. But right, we're losing Brooke Lemkool, she was our best killer, led the team in kills this year, but there's quite a supporting cast coming back. There was freshmen this year that saw a lot of time on the court in Noli Diedrich and Alex Mills, and so last time we've had that young of a starting lineup, we were nowhere near as competitive. So, you mix in those young kids coming back with some of our upperclassmen, like a Sophia Beck, that's going to lead that group, and Alexa Gallion. I really think they could make a run at the league title. So, but yeah, Coach Colvin, he's another one. They put in a lot of work over the summer, and that shows. It shows. And for whatever reason, the girls volleyball players, they are very committed and love doing it. Over this, it's not out of the question for almost everybody on the roster to show up for summer events, when it's not even mandatory. That's how passionate that team is, and that hard work definitely shows.
And one of the good things about volleyball, it's all inside. We don't have to worry about the weather during the fall. We don't have to worry about the rain, the heat, or anything like that. And they did, like you said, they did a wonderful turnaround this year, especially in the LC8. Well, the final sport that we'd like to talk about is cross country. And we, without a doubt, Wellington really showed fantastic sports abilities within the cross-country sport itself, not only within the LC8, not only in regional competition, but also with Joe Fox in all Ohio competition. I believe he was overall 27th in the state meet this year, and considering that's the entire state of Ohio, and he was 27th from Little Wellington High School, I think speaks volumes for the cross-country team and the cross-country coaches.
Right, and we had high expectations coming into the season, knowing that Joe was a two-time state qualifier as a sophomore and a junior. Coach Hook has been working with that group for a long time, and so this was kind of that payoff year. And but right, Joe exceeded all those expectations. He made it down to state, but we ended up hosting the LC8 conference meet this year, and that was a successful event. Coach Hook and all the volunteers did a great job with that. Mr. Nathan Morris, those guys did a lot of work for that, and Joe ended up winning the league meet, which was great. We also had success in the girls' side after winning the league last year. Lauren Vanatter, she was first team all LC8 and also made it all the way to regionals. She's the first girl to make it to regionals since 2001, I believe, or 2002. But right, Joe saw he had everything out in front of him by the time he got to the state to the state meet. Knew what he had to do, and we all knew he'd get back to the state meet unless something crazy happened. But what he accomplished at the state meet, I was even more impressed with. He finished 27th, broke the school record of I think he finished under 15 minutes or close to 15 minutes. I don't know. I can't remember. Maybe it was under 16 minutes. But he shattered the record nonetheless, and ends up being that 27th place. He finishes second team All-Ohio, which he, too, will be hanging in the walls of Wellington High School. So great year for cross-country as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to have you tell a little story that you told me at the very end of the race there in the Ohio meet. Mm-hmm. You're watching the people come in, and you're going, "Where's Joe? Where's Joe? Where's Joe?" And all of a sudden, he comes out making a huge sprint, you told me.
Right. So I had the privilege to go to the meet, and we were following him the whole time. And again, he knew what he needed to do. It's not that I that I doubted him, but we saw him. He was top 25 or so. There's like 3 chances of that race where you see where they're at. Mm-hmm. They come through the arena, mm-hmm. and we were like, man, he's pushing it. He was. I think he broke his personal best by like 30-20 seconds or something, mm-hmm. which is unheard of. To do as a senior in your last final race. So I'm like, can he really keep up that pace? And sure enough, he comes flying around the corner, and Joe's well known for his kick at the end of the race, and he still had more gas. He ran past probably 4 or 5 guys at the end and to finish 27th. So yeah, it was exciting.
Mm-hmm. Well, the last question I have for you, you talked a little bit about the future with all the sports, and not the least of which is Lauren Vanatter in cross country, and her being a senior next year, and hopefully we're seeing big things. But can you just maybe make an overall comment about all of the sports, including cheerleading, there in the fall, and what we're looking forward to next year?
Yeah, for every year, it seems like our fall season, we have a great fall season. So I'm always looking forward to the fall. We have a good summer program that I think gets our teams ready for that. And again, the kids finally get a little bit of break in between spring and fall. So I think the kids are excited for fall too, because they're getting back to it. So everything seems to always be on the upswing for fall. So next year, again, it's just I hope to continue that, and I think looking at the groups that we're bringing back, I definitely think that'll happen.
And especially for a school the size of Wellington High School, not exactly the biggest high school in the state of Ohio.
Right, and we still manage to field every team. And not everybody can say that in our league, and we're one of the smaller schools in our league. Mm-hmm. But we managed to fill all those teams, and that's something that I'm proud of. That we can still offer everything, even though it is a lot harder to do. The smaller you get, but I think that's something that is great about Wellington athletics is we're competitive across a bunch of sports. So that's why there's such great rivalries across the league. Is we're competitive in this sport, and so you match up with different schools in different sports, and it keeps us relevant in just about everything.
Well, I think it says a lot for you as the athletic director, but it says a lot also for all of the coaches that are coaching the kids and keeping them motivated and interested in all their different sports, and many of which have not only just one sport, but they go on to 2 or 3 sports in the athletic year. So it says a lot for not only you, the coaches, but also all of the kids that play all the different sports.
Right.
Well, we'd like to thank John Bowman very much for coming in and talking about all of the fall sports and how well Wellington High School did during the fall. And we'd also like to thank Dave Conklin and Dottie Cianciola for having the time to tape all of this and presenting it for the students and all of the people involved at Wellington High School, especially the parents of all these young kids that compete in all of these sports. So thank you very much to John Bowman and Dave Conklin and Dottie Cianciola for providing this program. And with that ends the fall season. And so we have to say, go Dukes.